The Broncos have been tied to multiple free agents since the 2020 offseason began. Heading into this new league year, the Broncos are projected to have $62 million in cap space, with an additional $18.5 million in space available if Joe Flacco is cut and Ronald Leary is not optioned. That $80 million figure would rank the Broncos as the NFL team with the fourth most cap space entering free agency. In other words, the Broncos are going to have the means to be a real player in the free agent sweepstakes. That said, let's review what we know about the outside free agents the Broncos have been tied to. First up is Kansas City's defensive lineman Chris Jones. Ranked by Pro Football Focus as the #1 defensive free agent in 2020, it's safe to assume the market for his services will be bullish. The Broncos could afford to push hard for Jones, while the Chiefs are among the league's most cap-strapped teams, with just $13.6 million in cap space heading into the new league year, and Patrick Mahomes needing to get paid. A creative cap wizard might be able to find a way to fit Jones under Kansas City's cap in all likelihood, but if that were to happen, odds are it already would have. Jones will hit the market. He's been tied to Denver in the most speculative sense by many pundits, the most high profile of which is Woody Page. Over the cap projects Jones' value at around $18 million per year. That would be a lot of lettuce to peel off for a 5-tech defensive lineman, but Jones' play in the postseason proved that he's worth the premium. Next up is Dallas Cowboys cornerback Byron Jones. Cecil Lammey of 104.3 The Fan in Denver reported earlier this week that the Broncos are likely to make the Cowboys' former first-round pick their top free agent priority of the offseason. Jones has also been pushed as a likely target by Woody Page and others. The Cowboys are dealing with Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper's contract, which means the neglected Jones is bound to hit the market. If the Broncos indeed want to sign Jones, they'll have to pay for the privilege, starting somewhere around the $14 million per year mark. Next up is Washington Redskins offensive guard Brandon Scherff. Scherff has been rumored to the Broncos by multiple sources. He's a great player when healthy. That's the issue though, health. Scherff has finished the last 2 years on injured reserve, and yet he's still going to come at a premium, considering the Broncos just got burned by Jawan James, and the fact that the once prized free agent signee Ronald Leary has missed at least 6 games in each of the 3 seasons he's been in Denver. There's a good chance GM John Elway approaches free agent offensive linemen with the once bitten, twice shy mentality. Woody Page has floated Scherff as a potential target, but there hasn't been anything recent in the rumor mill. The Broncos are going to have to find a new right guard if Leary's option indeed is not exercised, and Scherff is an extremely attractive candidate. Next up is Cleveland Browns linebacker Joe Schobert. The Broncos have a decision to make on Todd Davis's team option. Declining it would free up $5 million on the cap. Even if Davis is kept, the Broncos are expected to be intrigued in Schobert, according to Benjamin Albright. Schobert would be an upgrade over Davis and a player Fangio could pencil in opposite of Alexander Johnson and feel good about him never having to leave the field. Schobert has sneaky coverage ability and is a solid run defender, which makes him a true 3-down backer and a likely Broncos target. Going back to another Redskin, we have wideout Paul Richardson. The Redskins are cutting bait with Richardson, and according to Benjamin Albright, the Broncos are likely to sniff around the former CU buff. The Broncos are looking for a speed threat at wide receiver to complement Courtland Sutton, and Richardson would fit the bill. But it'll depend on what type of money Richardson is after. Now comes the trade market, and first up is disgruntled Minnesota Vikings wideout Stefon Diggs. The Broncos have been rumored to have at least a passing interest in Diggs. In that sense, as Benjamin Albright recently said, the Broncos could call Minnesota to at least check on what the cost of acquiring Diggs via trade might be. Diggs is a diva, and he's unhappy. However, the Broncos already have one of the top possession receivers in the league in Courtland Sutton, who, like Diggs, specializes in the jump ball situations. Acquiring Diggs would also come with just a 1-year rental that would count as $11.5 million against the cap in 2020. Suffice to say, him landing in Denver is a slim possibility, but never say never. Next, we have the curious situation of Detroit's Darius Slay and Jacksonville's A.J. Bouye. 9 News' Mike Kliss advocated earlier this week for the Broncos to make a call to the Lions to check on the availability of Slay and the Jaguars to check on Bouye. It's hard to see the Lions giving up Slay for anything less than a second-round pick. Bouye, on the other hand, could come at a significantly lower cost. Either one would represent an upgrade at cornerback for Denver. Slay, however, would be a next-level get for the Broncos. At this stage, this is all speculation and projection, not necessarily anything concrete as it relates to the rumored trade block. There are a few projected cap casualty type of situations to monitor around the league that the Broncos could have interest in. These players include Chicago's Akeem Hicks and Prince Amukamara, as well as Jacksonville's Calais Campbell. The Bears are tight against the cap, while the Jaguars are actually over the cap currently, which means they're mandated by the league to either make some roster cuts or restructure some player contracts. We'll see how it shakes out. The legal tampering period begins on March 16th, with free agency officially opening around the NFL 2 days later on March 18th. Expect the Broncos to make some hay while the sun is shining and build as quickly as possible around the cost-controlled quarterback Drew Lock. For Mile High Huddle and Sports Illustrated, I'm Chad Jensen.